So we'll begin. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaihevacha Patitanam Pavanhebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so welcome everyone to our ongoing study of the Bhagavad Gita, Unit 1, Bhakti Sastri, and we're on Chapter 9. We already began Chapter 9. Again, you can see the outline, right? Krishna begins with his praise of pure devotion. How did he praise it? Who knows? Do you remember? Priya Satyabhama, do you remember? Rukmini.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, beg forgiveness, Maharaj got late.
Yes, okay, no problem.
Please have my respectful obeisances, Maharaj.
Yes, my obeisances to you. I'm asking a question, can you answer? I want to know, how did Krishna praise pure bhakti?
Praise pure bhakti.
In the first 3 verses. Who remembers?
Yes.
Maharaj, it is most confidential, and Krishna told Arjuna that once you know this knowledge, nothing else remains to be known. Jnanam Vijnanam Sahitam.
Okay, anything else?
And one needs to know this knowledge, like one who doesn't have faith cannot cross this material world, like cannot cross this cycle of birth and death. So one needs to have faith.
Well, you're only relating the second verse. Yeah, okay, the third, what you're saying, faith? Yes.
Yes, faith. Faith is in the third verse.
And the third verse, and what does the first verse speak about? Verse number 1?
Verse number 1 was regarding the Gyan and Vigyan, that this has both like knowledge and this is also the science.
But there was something else. Arjuna's particular qualification.
Yes, Maharaj. Arjuna said that, Krishna said that Arjuna is non-envious. This is the most important quality. Yes.
Yes, right, thank you. Non-envious, right. Pure bhakti, pure devotion means no envy of others. And Arjuna is not envious, and that's why Arjuna is hearing Bhagavad Gita. All right, then we spoke about Krishna's inconceivable relationship with this world. What's so inconceivable about Krishna's relationship with this world?
That he created it and aloof from it at the same time.
Oh, I can't understand what you're saying, Mariji. Something wrong with your mic.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, am I audible now?
Not very good. Not very clear. Can you try again?
Yes, Maharaj. Is it better now? Hare Krishna? Hare Krishna?
It's somewhat echo. There's still echo there. It's not very nice.
I'll try re-recording.
Someone can tell me Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the world?
Yes, Maharaj. That is Krishna's. Actually, this is Krishna's how to explain? Krishna separated energy. Krishna doesn't interact with the material energy directly. Just like by his glance, there was like example of flower, like as we passes through with a garden and flower blossoms comes, but we don't need to even touch the flowers, but fragrance comes. So similarly, Krishna is not. Krishna energy is also like this, Maharaj. Yes. Just by his glance.
Yes, right. Good. Krishna's by his will.
Will.
Yes, by his will, by his yogam aishwarya, by his mystic potency. Right?
Yes.
Yogam aishwarya, that he's able to maintain and oversee everything, all the affairs of this world, although he does not involve himself directly with it. And we gave different examples, right? How did we compare the neutrality of Krishna in the? What's the example given to show Krishna's neutrality in dealing with people in the material world? Some people are suffering and some are being rewarded.
Yes, Maharaj. Example of the judge, Maharaj. Judge gives it somebody. Judge is just sitting at the seat, and he says he gives punishment to one to go to jail. He gave punishment to the hang to the neck, and to someone he awarded the wealth. So like this, and he's the one. So nobody can say, judge, that you are giving punishment to me, and to another you are giving the wealth. So the judge will say that you have done the wrong thing, so you are getting punishment. But another person has met with some accident, and as a compensation he is getting the wealth or the recompensation like. So this is the thing. The same lies with Krishna. Krishna is like neutral. In this way, Krishna is neutral. Whatever we are getting in this material world is our deed which we have done in the past lives. So we are suffering or gaining whatever position we are in.
So it must be a lot of hard work for Krishna, isn't it? That he's doing so many things, maintaining all these universes. Must be a lot of hard work for him.
Not at all, Maharaj. Krishna has appointed so many demigods, and he doesn't need to do anything. Actually, he just performs his pastimes. He's busy doing this, and other people does everything else for him.
How does he do everything?
As an incarnation, like Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshan, and Vishnu. So other than like Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu, like this, everybody has their own role. Brahma created the universe, Lord Vishnu maintains it, and Shiva at the end annihilated this, like this, Maharaj.
And what's Krishna doing?
Krishna is busy doing in his pastimes. He doesn't need to do anything, but he's like that. As you give the example of his grace Amrish Prabhu.
Ambarish Maharaj.
Amrish Maharaj. Yes, he is also all his limbs are busy in serving the Supreme Personality of Lordhead. Even his wealth, everything, mansa, vacha, karmana, everything, all the senses is busy, but he like this, Maharaj.
Yes, we said Maharaj Ambarish is indifferent to what's going on in the state, but he's there, he's on the throne, and he lets the ministers all do all the government. all the decisions in running a country, it's all done by the ministers who are there. But Ambarish Maharaj, he's busy chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He's busy reading the books and worshipping the deities. And he lets all the ministers do all the governing. So Krishna's like that. He's enjoying with his devotees in the spiritual world. Okay, and then a bit further on, we heard about how fools neglect bhakti, the divine don't. Who could expand on this? Do you know text number 11?
Yes, Maharaj, like the fools, they are ignorant. That is why they don't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They think that he's someone who is a mystic person or very powerful, but they are not able to understand. So, like different reasons for that. Some are envious, or some they have poor fund of knowledge. That is why they are not able to understand the supremacy of Lord.
Yes, they think of Krishna like a human being, right? They don't understand his divine position, his supremacy over all that be. So what is the result of that ignorance?
Maharaj, those who are devotees, they don't go to Golok Vrindavan. Those who are Jnani, they will also not get their destination, and Jnani, like, they will not get liberation, and Karmi, they will also not get fruitive result.
Yes, right. The Karmis won't get to heaven, the Jnanis won't get moksha. And if the devotees don't properly understand Krishna, they also won't get back to Godhead, right? Okay, so the fools neglect bhakti, but the divine don't. What do the divine do? Who are these divine?
They are Mahatmas.
Why?
Because they are always engaged in discharging loving devotional service under the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna.
What are they doing? What kind of devotional service?
They have determination and they have perseverance.
That's their qualities. Yeah, I want to know their activities.
They are chanting glories of Krishna and going down before them.
Yes, always chanting the holy name and bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Right? And then the chapter goes on to speak about indirect worship of Krishna. We have to cover that tonight. And then we will hear also the glories of devotional service. The last part of the chapter describes the glories of Bhakti Yoga. All right, so we're going to speak now about this other people, these who worship Krishna indirectly. Text number 15 speaks about devotees who are inferior to the previously mentioned ones. Who was previously mentioned? Just
Mahatmas.
Yes, the Mahatmas, right? So they're not Mahatmas. They're devotees, but they're inferior to the Mahatmas, to the great souls who are always engaged in chanting and worshipping Krishna and like that. So they're devotees, but they're inferior devotees. Devotees who, it's described here, who have a predominance of jnana, but with bhakti as secondary action. So you could see like Bhakti Mishra Jnanis, right? Mixed devotion. Their devotion is mixed with jnana, not pure devotees. And one group are described, verses number 16, 17, 18 and 19, where Lord Krishna describes those people who worship the Vishwarup, meaning what? The universal form, right? People worship the universal form. This is also mentioned actually in Srimad Bhagavatam. You'll see when you study Srimad Bhagavatam, those of you who have read Srimad Bhagavatam, you know in the second canto, Sukadeva Goswami begins his description of the worship of the Lord by worshipping the universal form. Because there are people, they're not Mahatmas, but they're devotees, and they worship the Lord through the universe. They see God in the universe, right? What are some different aspects of the Vishwarup? Can somebody tell me? What are some different aspects of the Vishwarup? You know some of the different limbs of the body of the Lord, how they're described?
Maharaj, like Brahmanas are called as the head of the Vishwarup,
Right.
arms are the Kshatriyas, Vaishya are the belly, and like legs are the Shudras.
Yes, right. Yes, good. The different varnas are all there in the Vishwarup. Yes. Anything else?
And like Surya is the eye, like the sun is the eye of Lord.
Yes, yes, good. The eye, the sun is like the eye of the Lord. And the rivers, what about the rivers? They're like what? Rivers.
Perspiration. I don't remember exactly. I think perspiration of the Lord.
The rivers are like veins on the body of the Lord. Like the veins.
And I think the hair on the body are like trees.
Yes, right. The trees or different vegetation, plants. They're all like hair on the body of the Lord. Yes, good. And the upper planets, where are the upper planets in the universal form? The upper planets will be like the head of the Lord, and the lower planets are like the feet or the soul of the Vishwarup. All right, so in this way everything is there, so people worship the Vishwarup. And then demigod worship is also included there. Then people worship the different demigods. And indirectly, they're worshipping Krishna. They're worshipping demigods, but it's indirectly worshipping Krishna. So we're going to hear about these different worshippers, beginning with this. Well, this is the summary verse. This verse describes the different kinds of worshippers. Right? Somebody read.
ज्ञानयज्ञेन चापन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम्. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without second, as diverse in many and in the universal form.
Right, thank you, Maharaji. Right. So we have Prabhupada's lecture from this. Anye, actually. Anye. Anye meaning others. Others. Who are these others? So they're mentioned here. You can see the others. 1, 2, 3. And there are 3 different others who are all worshipping the Lord, but worshipping Him indirectly. And now the first kind mentioned is the one which is most prominent among these indirect worshippers. And it's the most prominent, is also the lowest. It's the worst one, right? So they are called Ekatvena. Ekatvena meaning monists. He worships himself as one with the Lord. It's the lowest, it's the lowest, and it's the most predominant, non-different between worshipper and object of worship. Yeah, it's really bad to think there's no difference between the worshipper and the object of worship. So you may be worshipping the deity, and you think there's no difference between Krishna and me, I'm worshipping Krishna, but I'm also Krishna. So that's monism, that's this ekat vena, thinking ourselves to be one with the Lord. And it's so common. This philosophy of impersonalism or monism is everywhere. It's spread everywhere. So Lord Chaitanya was very eager to defeat it. And particularly the followers of Madhva Acharya, they preached very strongly against this monist philosophy. All right, and then you have the second kind of others. It's called Pritak Vena Bahuda, Vibhuti Upasana. Means that they concoct some form of the Supreme Lord, and it includes also demigod worship. So demigod worship is also included in this Pritak Vena Bahuda. We just imagine some form of the Lord. And then number 3, Vishvato Mukham, is actually the best one, and this is worshipping the universal form, described in verses 16 up to 19. All right, so here's the description of Ekat Vena. Someone can read for us?
Ahan grahopsana na devo devam acharet. Without being on the level of a deva, example pure, one cannot worship the Lord. Na devo devam acharet, archayet. One who has not risen to the level of a deva cannot chant this mantra. According to this direction of the Shastra, one must think himself qualitatively non-different from the Supreme. The Narayan Kavach Shield. Summary.
All right, so sometimes we will come across this philosophy called Ahangrahopasana, where we identify ourselves on being one with the Supreme. So this is Ekat Vena, this is the impersonalist philosophy. And we see it mentioned there also from Narayana Kavacha, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 6th canto. That you have to think yourself one with the Supreme. Then only you can chant the mantra. All right, someone read, please.
Indirect worshippers of Krishna. Text 15. Anye, others. Now those who are directly worshipping the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, they have been described as Mahatma. And there are others, worshippers, they cannot conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly on account of being less advanced. Therefore, they have been described here, Anye, others. So, others, they worship the Absolute Truth in 3 different ways. The first class others, amongst the others, there is the first class, second class, third class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Right? So the first class are those who worship the universal form. And the third class, those are the monists, who think themselves to be one with the Supreme. Prabhupada explains more. All right, please read. Ahangrahopasana.
So amongst the persons who worship the Absolute Truth, not directly as the personality of Godhead, but as Ahangrahopasanam. Ahangrahopasanam means taking himself as the Supreme. This we have already explained, that taking himself as the Supreme means as the part and parcel of the Supreme. If we study myself, then I can understand also what is God. The only difference is quantitatively. God is great and I am small. Otherwise, so far, quality is concerned, that is one. So this Ahangrahopasanam, that is number 1.
Yeah. Oh, it's very small. Are you able to read it, Mataji?
Yes, Maharaj. The next Upasana, Next worship is Ekatven Prithaktvena, Bhagavad Gita 9.15. Prithaktven means pantheism. Just like there are persons who worship any demigod as God. Their opinion is that there are different forms of God. So any form we accept as God and worship, we shall be benefited. We shall approach the highest perfection. That is another section. So this can be adjusted that God is everywhere. That there is no denying this fact because by His energy, He is everywhere. Just like we are His energy, living entities, they are superior energies of God. Aparayam, itastu vidhi me prakritim param. Param means superior. So we are also energy. So energy and the energetic, they are one. Just like the sun and the sunshine, they are not different. So wherever the sunshine is there is sun. You cannot deny that. Wherever the sunshine is there is sun. Similarly, wherever the energy of God is there is God. So in that way, everything is God. Prithaktvena, everything. Pantheism. These are different processes. But these processes one has to transcend. Just like simply studying the sunshine is not complete study of the sun. Although sunshine is not different from the sun, still you simply study scientifically. What is the molecules? What are these rays? Where this brilliant illuminative came? So many things you can go on studying. That is also one sense studying the sun, but not sun also. Should I continue, Prabhu Maharaj?
Yes, it's connected.
Ji. Vishwaroop Upasana. So Prithaktven and Vishvato Mukham. Vishvato Mukham means the universal form. Just like it is stated in the Shastras, the hills, they are bones of God. The trees and grass, and I mean to say vegetation, they are just like hairs on the body of the Lord. So the ocean, the navel of God, is the navel of God. In this way, there are description. The highest planet, Swarga, Brahmalok, that is the head of God. The lowest planet, Patalok, that is, I mean to say, the soul of God. These things are described. The whole universal form. So somebody prefers the universal form. Somebody prefers that everything, whatever we see, it is God. And somebody prefers that I am God. So these are different methods of appreciating God. But they are also accepted because they have taken into the line. They are better than who are just like animals, simply eating, sleeping and defending and mating. But those who have taken either of these, Gyan, Yagyen, Prithaktven and Vishvato Mukham. So those who are impersonalists, they prefer these three processes. And those who are personalists, they prefer directly to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So they are all transcendentalists. They are on the line. But here in Bhagavad Gita, those who are directly worshipping the Supreme Lord, they have been described as Mahatma. And those who are worshipping in other processes, they have been described Anya. Anya means others. So they have not been given so much importance. Although they have been accepted, they have been, because they have come to the line.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Maharaji. Right. So this was Prabhupada's lecture on this topic, which is quite nice for us to understand. We should appreciate these the three different kinds of indirect methods of worshipping the Lord, right? So text 11 and 12 was describing the impersonalists, and then text 14 and 15 was, text 13 and 14 was describing the Mahatmas. Then we came to 15, and you've got this Anye. You're hearing about the others, those who are worshipping the Lord indirectly. And begins, first of all, with the worship of the Lord by his, text 16 to 19 is describing, that's describing the impersonal feature, impersonal worship of the Lord. And that, you could call it what, the Ahangrahopasana. No, this is it's called the Vishwarup. This is the Vishwarup. 16 to 19 is the Vishwarup. So you can see in text 16, Krishna says, it's a bit like the vibhutis almost. It is Krishna saying, it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. And then in text 17, he says, he said, I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajurveda. And then text 18, we'll see, just see what he says here. Text 18, he says, I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal soul. And then text 19 again continues. I give heat, and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality, I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. So in this way, this is Krishna describing worship of the universal form. Seeing Krishna's identifying everything with himself. And then he goes on, text 20, to describe about how people worship, how people can go to higher planets by worshipping different demigods. Text 20 describes those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So anything wrong with that?
No, Maharaj.
No, you're happy, eh? You want that? You want to go to heaven and enjoy heavenly delights?
No, Maharaj, but this is what Krishna is saying, this is all right. So I'm happy that Krishna is saying I'm this, I'm that. So I'm happy.
No, but this is something different, right? That was finished with. That was worship of the universal form. But then after talking about the universal form, then he says these other things. And
these are like karam kandis, right? These are like karam kandis, that those who study Vedas and drink Somras and seeking heavenly planets, that they want some pious outcomes from their worship.
Yes, right. They want to enjoy the material world, right? They're karmis, they're fruitive workers. You could say karma mimamsas. Text 21 goes on. And when they have enjoyed, again, they're enjoying vast, heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this material, mortal planet again. Thus those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. So that's the result of this indirect process. They're not getting out, they're not solving the real problem, they're still in the material world. So 20 and 21, we're describing like that, about the karmakandi, the materialist, how he's trying to enjoy the material world. And then text 22, Krishna describes about the devotee. And you can see the verse here, text 22, it's an important verse, describing again Ananya Bhakti, right? Unflinching, steady devotional service. Someone can read text 22?
Ananyaschintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogashemam vahamayam. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating upon my transcendental form, to them I carry with what they lack and I preserve what they have.
Yes, you know this verse quite well, I can see. You're quite familiar with this verse. We like this verse, you know, we like the idea. Krishna said he maintains his devotee, right? We like the idea where Krishna says, I preserve what they have, I carry what they lack. But who does he do that for? He only does that for his very pure devotees. His very pure devotees, who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form. So we have to be qualified. We want to get this reciprocation from Lord Krishna. It's demanding. Krishna wants exclusive, pure devotion, not mixed devotion. It has to be very pure. So that means we have to get rid of all the anarthas, the dirty things in the heart. So Krishna promises he will maintain his devotees. This is one of the important verses. Yes, someone read?
Yogasheman Mahanayam Aha. Well, Mr. Materialist, you have to work very hard, but here the assurance from the Lord is that those who are unflinching and totally devoted to the transcendental service of me, in return I take responsibility for their care and comfort. Now this shloka is very important for the devotees. There was a great devotee, his name was Arjunacharya. SP tells the story, lecture BG 9.20 to 22, New York 66.
Do you know the story, Mataji? Do you know the story of Arjunacharya?
No, I don't know the story, Maharajji, but I want to just share with you that this verse is important even in the corporate world, because this is linked to the lead. I'm sorry, I'm just digressing, but I wanted to share with you that this is also the leadership quality, right, where he carries what his devotees lack and he preserves what they have. So we say that good leaders, they actually work from their team strengths and then work on their improvement areas. So we hear this a lot in the corporate world also. I don't know the story, but I wanted to just mention this. So that's why we hear this verse quite a lot, and it's very close to most of the people's hearts.
They actually quote the verse, they actually use this, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham.
They do in some of the leadership talks, not so much in the UK, but then in wherever we can relate to Gita, this shlok comes quite a lot. And it is also in Vishnu Sahasranam, I read it quite a lot. After we finish the Sahasranam, then this verse comes there also. But I've heard a lot in leadership, so we use this in the leadership lectures and leadership talks.
Okay, interesting to hear, yeah. Who would like to tell us the story about Arjunacharya? Who knows the story? One of our Prabhus must know. Arjunacharya, right? What happened? Who was he? Somebody? No volunteers? Okay, Arjunacharya was a humble Brahmana, a great devotee, as we'll hear. Humble Brahmana, he lived by begging. So he was reading Bhagavad Gita, and when he came to this verse, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham, he didn't think it's possible. He thought it should be Yoga Kshema Karomyaham. Yoga Shema Karomyaham, and not that Krishna will directly do it, not that Krishna personally will come and do it, but he will arrange somebody else to do it. And so he crossed out Vahami, or he crossed out one of the words, he was changing it. And then he went out to do his begging. And when he went out to do his begging, he hadn't been gone very long, when a knock came to the door, and there were two young boys, very good looking, one blackish color and one whitish color, and they were carrying big baskets of food, different provisions. And they said, quick, take these things. We want to go. We don't want to meet your husband again. And the lady in the house, the wife of Arjuna Acharya, she was surprised that, why, what's wrong? You know, what is all these things? Where did you get all of this? And they said, no, we're bringing this. This is, your husband told us to bring all these things. You need all these things for your home. But we don't want to meet your husband again. And they said, he's beat us. And they showed marks on their body, marks like they had been beaten with a cane. And the lady, the wife of Arjuna Acharya, was shocked because she knew her husband to be a mild-natured, gentle Brahmana, and who would never strike children, especially children like these two young boys who had come to her door. So the two boys left, and then the husband came home. And the husband came home, he was complaining, I couldn't collect anything. He had gone for begging and nobody had given anything. But then the wife said, no, the two boys came and they said, you sent them with all of these things. And the husband was shocked. What? He said, I never sent any boys. And she described them. And then he was puzzled that one is black and one is white, and they're very, very attractive. And then she told them that, she said to her husband, why did you beat them? I saw the marks on their body where you'd caned them. Why did you do that to these? And the husband was shocked. He said, I never caned anybody. I didn't beat anyone. And then he went to look at his Bhagavad Gita. And he saw that in his Bhagavad Gita, he had crossed out Vahami Aham. So he understood that Lord Krishna had personally come there to show him that it was actually true, that the Brahmana was thinking, Krishna won't personally do it, Krishna may send somebody else to do it, but Krishna came himself. He wanted Arjuna Acharya to know that it was actually a fact that Krishna would personally come and take care and maintain his devotees and carry whatever they have, maintain what they have, and carry what they lack. So that is the special mercy of Krishna for those who are fully devoted to Krishna and always meditate on Krishna. So we want to ask you, take a partner. How many people are here tonight?
18, Maharaj.
18, all right, so 9 pairs. And we want you to exchange experiences where Krishna carried what you lacked or preserved what you had. And discuss why it is not a burden for Krishna to maintain his devotees. All right? You must have had some experiences where Krishna carried what you lacked or preserved what you had. We hope so. So,
Maharaj, is it from our life or from, like, we have to give examples from scriptures?
Well, best is from your own life. But if you don't have any from your own personal life, it may be somebody you know, or it may be from the scriptures. But we were looking for examples from your own life. That's ideal. If you really don't have anything from your own life, then let us hear from the life of others. But give some examples. Yes? So go in the group, go into your pairs, and we'll give you time. Wait for you to come back. Shouldn't take long.
I've opened all rooms, Maharaj. Devotees, please accept the request that you have
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Maraji. All right, Maharaji?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, I think we can close the rooms now, Maharaji. Get people back.
Okay, Maharaj. Quite a few devotees didn't join Maharaj, so I clubbed them into groups of 3.
Okay.
So we had 9 participants who did the activity.
Okay, good. Yes? Is everyone back? Oh, no.
Not yet, Maharaj. Now everybody's back, Maharaj.
Okay. So, I hope you had a fruitful discussion. I hope you have some experiences to share with us.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, yes we did. May I say something, Maharaj?
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
We discussed, Maharaj, and from our own personal experiences we shared and we had some doubt and query. Like, for example, we all consider ourselves on the very basic level sadhakas. Not even devotees, what to say of pure or middle devotees. But we see from our own life experiences that Krishna does maintain and protect us and provide everything we need for our spiritual advancement in practices. And at the same time, we have heard that from the pure devotees, for the higher advanced devotees, Krishna rather takes away everything, and that is his mercy, that he takes away everything. So, it's like seems like contradiction. Can you please clarify?
Well, it's not that Krishna has to take away from the devotees, but the devotees they're not attached to everything. They're willing, they give it for Krishna's service. Prabhupada gave everything for the service of Krishna. It's not that Krishna has to take it away. So Krishna may take some things away, somebody's attached to something, but it's not a rule that Krishna takes away things from people who are advanced. That's not. If Krishna does take something away, it's for our benefit, it's for our purification. But generally, it's the devotees themselves, they will give up everything for the service of Krishna. They will sacrifice whatever they have. And there are many examples of that. Now, I was thinking, Krishna carried what you liked. I was thinking, like when I go to countries, foreign countries, I go to foreign countries, sometimes, going to countries, I'm preaching mostly in Asian countries, like I went to Thailand, and I didn't really know anybody there. I just went there. I was just distributing books. But Krishna arranged, I met people who were interested, and people who actually were devotees. Krishna arranges, puts people there, and you meet them. Going to countries like that, you actually get help. People come forward to help you to do the things. Just like when Prabhupada was in America, he got people to do so many things for him. When Prabhupada had been writing, and he wanted somebody to type, and somebody just appeared, and he knew everything about typesetting and typing and everything. And this was in 1960s, but the boy just appeared, and he did all the typing, typed out all Prabhupada's lectures, and then he just disappeared. They never saw him again. Just amazing, you know, people just come, Krishna sends them. And Malati talks about how sometimes there's no money and somebody would just come with just the amount of money they needed to pay the bill.
Yes, Maharaj, whatever you're saying is in line with this shloka, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham, in case of Srila Prabhupada and you, pure devotees like you. But we are nowhere in the case of pure devotees. We are not even middle devotees, Maharajji. But it is true in our case also. That's why I'm saying it seems like you just said that he does it for pure devotees who have unflinching faith towards Krishna. But we do not have it. Still, he is protecting us, protecting what we have and preserving and providing what we lack. So why is this happening with us?
Well, Krishna is encouraging you to give you more faith in devotional service. You can see it like that. It may not always be like that, but it's happening. Sometimes you feel, you could, maybe in the initial stages we feel like that, and that's Krishna encouraging us to become more committed to Krishna consciousness. Right?
Ji Maharaj, he is very merciful. He was taking care of us also.
All right, anybody else like to comment on this? Krishna carried what you like, preserved what you had. We never hear from the men. Is there some men there who could comment on this? I'd like to hear from some males. All very quiet. We don't have any men in the class? Okay, Maraji, you wanted to speak? Yeah?
Maharaj, can I say something?
Okay, go ahead, yeah.
I want to share, Maharaj, my husband's experience here. He's in the class, but I don't know, maybe... So he used to travel a lot, Maharaj, before joining the business with in India. He was in a multinational company, and once it was Ekadashi. And he was fasting, of course, and the whole day he could not find anything, Maharaj, to eat. So naturally he was taking just water and he was not eating. I don't know, suddenly he comes back to his hotel room where the company had put him to stay, and he finds a big basket of fruits. Big basket of fruits lying in the hotel room. So he was really happy. He said, I really thanked Krishna that day. I could not get anything to eat, but he was the one who provided. So that I can at least eat something and go to bed.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Krishna arranged.
He did, Maharaj. A lot of times. So he was in Brazil, and he was just strolling around, and he was thinking that he could have been in India, and I think it was some festival. And he was missing out on it. And suddenly, there's a big Sankirtan party walking on the beach and doing nice Harinam and everything. So that also happened with him.
Yeah, devotees are everywhere. We just have to be patient. Find them.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yes, Prabhu?
Maharaj, I feel that in book distribution, this phenomena of Krishna helping comes out very strongly. So, in small ways, of course, there have been many big instances in my life as well where Krishna really protected. But I want to share a very simple incident which really affirmed my faith in Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, which was that I had this habit when I was in Delhi. I would carry books for my meetings and I would just distribute.
Speak up a bit. Your voice is very faint. Speak up.
Can you hear me, Maharaj, now?
It's still faint.
Okay, is it any better?
Yes, now better, yes.
Okay. Maharaj, I was saying that I have many instances, but I just want to share a very small instance, but really affirmed my belief. I was saying that in book distribution, I felt that this thing comes out to be true very strongly. I personally experienced Krishna helping a lot in book distribution. When I was in Delhi, I used to have this habit of carrying some books in my bag when I would go for meetings. And I had kept almost like a principle that I would finish all the books that I've carried and I would distribute them before I go back home. There was one time I had this one book left and it was almost 10 o'clock in the evening. I was coming back in a rickshaw in India, in Delhi. And in this e-rickshaw next to me, there was this drunkard sitting. And he was a very poor man. I mean, so poor that probably one cannot imagine him to have money to eat. And he was drunk. And somehow I had this last book in my hand and my home was just around the corner. And having faith in Krishna, I just asked that person randomly if he would like to buy Bhagavad Gita. I was so drunk, he didn't even know what I was speaking. And somehow he saw Gita and he felt so thankful. And he just looked into his pocket and whatever he had, he just gave it to me. And this incident, and I've had so many other incidents where in the most unexpected situation, because I had this desire to distribute Gita, finish my stock before I go home, someone or the other, somewhere would emerge and would buy these Gitas.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhu. Very nice. Certainly, when we go out there on book distribution, you can really experience Krishna giving mercy, Krishna sending and helping us. Okay, why is it not a burden for Krishna to maintain his devotees? Who would like to answer?
Maharaj, can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Maharaji.
Maharaj, I also want to share that one of the example in my life. Maharaj, I just got remembered when Mataji was saying that the Prabhu was out. Maharaj, I also went abroad, and in 2005 I left eating onion garlic. So when I went there on cruise, and I was so fortunate that at that time they were making a world book of record. They were making a world book of record of Bhagavatam in sea. So there was a Jain food without onion garlic, without even tomatoes. So I was so fortunate that I got this everything there. And one more incident, Maharaj, I met with an accident. So it was so bad that I hurt so badly. I went when my family and other people took me to the hospital. Everybody was very afraid. But just after 5 days, when I went to doctor, I was walking at my own and I was recovered. So Lord, that doctor was also very much strange that how I recovered in just 5 days. And one more example, just sudden, that I was working in the material world, and I left my job 3 years before. When I used to work, I didn't want it to work. But somehow I had to, so I was working. My heart was never there. So whatever earnings I was getting in my job, still somehow I'm getting here. So these are the few examples in my life. And Maharaj, this thing about Krishna, discuss why it is not a burden for a Krishna to maintain his devotees' life, because Krishna loves his devotees. Krishna simply loves his devotees. He knows nothing but his devotees, and Krishna devotees know nothing but Krishna. So if we love somebody, so we will do anything and everything for that person.
Right. Yes.
And Maharaji, we also read in Nectar of Devotion that Krishna is purchased by his devotees. So he's enslaved by his devotees. So, that's why he would maintain his pure devotees.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead. Here's a quote. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commenting on this verse, 922. Someone like to read?
On the other hand, the happiness of my Ananya Bhaktas is given by me. It is not obtained by pious acts. They are at all times Nityam, well versed in matters concerning me, Abhiyuktanam, and are always ignorant of all other things. Or the phrase can mean that they constantly desire to be in my association. For such persons, I take care of their attainment of wealth, yoga, and their maintenance, kshemam. Though they do not expect such things, it would be unsuitable for the Lord simply to say that he performs these acts. Thus the word vahami, meaning carry, is used. The use of the word mahami indicates that the Lord bears the burden of maintaining their bodies in the manner that the householder takes the responsibility for maintaining his own wife and children. Thus, one should not say that, like others, their attainment or preservation of bodily needs is due to karma.
Okay. Sometimes we think, oh, he has good karma. No, it's Krishna's arrangement. Not just karma. It's done by Krishna. Krishna personally takes care of the devotees. All right, going ahead, text 23. We're hearing more. Someone read the verse.
Ye api ananya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitah te api mam eva kaunteya yajanti avadhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way.
Thank you. Yes. So they're devotees of Ananya Devata Bhakta. They're the other gods, not the Supreme Lord Krishna. So worshipping the demigods, right? And they have faith in them. But actually, they're worshipping Krishna. But they do so in the wrong way. Avidhi Purvakam. It's the wrong way. They're not really worshipping. It's not so pleasing to Krishna. Avidhi Purvakam. They worship me without following the process, with the vidhi by which I am attainable. They didn't follow. Prabhupada explains. Someone read?
One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidhi purvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Worship of demigods may be accepted if people know that these demigods are authorized agents of the Supreme Lord. There is acceptance of Supreme Lord, but those fools who do not accept the Supreme God and misunderstand that this particular type of demigod is all in all, oh, they are doing nonsense. They are placing so many competitors of the Supreme Lord. That is avidhi purvakam. That is illegal. Nobody can be competitor of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is known as Asam Urdhava. Nobody is greater than the Supreme Lord and nobody is equal. It's from Bhagavad Gita 9.23-24, New York, December 10, 1966.
Thank you very much, Masterji. Very nice. Yes. So, is Prabhupada saying worship of demigods is wrong? Look at the top.
No.
What?
No.
No, right. The top of the slide. Worship of demigods may be accepted. What is the condition?
If people know that these demigods are authorized agents of Supreme Lord, as we were discussing earlier also about the demigods.
Right, yes. If we know they're all part of Krishna. agents of Krishna. So then there is acceptance of the Supreme Lord. But if we think the demigod is the Supreme, if we think they're all one, then it's wrong. Well, we have to understand properly. Yes? Next verse, someone read.
Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitrvrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti ma yajino api mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me will live with me.
So how are you going to use this verse in preaching? Under what kind of situation can you make good use of this verse? Can you think how to use this verse in preaching?
Yes, Maharaj. One thing is very simple, that what demigods also comes in the realm of sphere of material world, and Supreme Lord is in supreme abode, supreme sky, spiritual sky, in Vakunthas. So any intelligent man with a good fund of knowledge will be able to understand that he wants to come out of the cycle of birth and death. If he worship demigods, he will be in the material world only. And what to say about the ghosts and ancestors? They are all in here. But if he worships Supreme Lord Krishna, then he will be promoted to, he will go to Vaikuntha planets, or very fortunate will go to Golok Vrindavan.
But that's not mentioned in this verse. Krishna doesn't say that he has a place outside this world. He simply said, you come to me, you worship me, you live with me. He doesn't say where you live, but he said you live with me. So we couldn't just say that this verse proves that there's a spiritual world. There's no mention of Krishna having a world far beyond the material world. It just says, if you worship Krishna, you'll live with him. Now we may say, well, Krishna's in Vrindavan. It means you go to Vrindavan, you live in Vrindavan. But there's no mention about the spiritual world. So that's not, your application of the verse is not really effective. Okay.
So Maharaj, it can be like that the person to whom we think that we stay with that person, like if I think about Vrindavan all the time, in my heart is in Vrindavan, so I stay in Vrindavan. If somebody is thinking about the demigods like this, Maharaj, it is?
No, I don't think so. But usually this verse is used where people will say, well, it's all one. When they talk about oneness, it doesn't matter who you worship, it's all one. They're all God, and you go to be with God. And it's like yatamat tatapat, the Bengali saying. They say that the many paths all lead to the one place. It's just, it doesn't happen like that. But they say like that. They say yatamat tatapat, many paths, many temples. But they say it's all one, no difference. And we say it doesn't matter, you worship the demon. They say it doesn't matter who you worship, you all get the same result. So the people talk like that. We talk about oneness, and there's no variety, and it's all one. It doesn't matter who you worship, you'll all get the same result. But that's not there. And this, Krishna says very clearly in this verse, you worship the demigods, you go to them. It's a difference. There is a difference. It doesn't say you can worship anyone, you go at the same place. It doesn't happen logically also. You go to the train, you go down to Howrah station, and one train is going to Delhi and another train is going to Mumbai. It's not all one. There are differences. And similarly, you worship different personality. You go to these different places. So that's how we apply this verse. Read.
She is a prostitute. That's all Krishna says. yatanti dev vrata devam. Bhagavad Gita from 9.25. How you nonsense say that everything goes to God? This is nonsense. You can go to Shiva, you can go to Indra, you can go. There are so many planets. You will go there, and that is reasonable. How do you say that whatever ticket I purchase, I go to this Delhi? Therefore, they are nonsense. Muda, rascals. They do not know what is God, what is demigod, what is Lord Shiva, what is Lord Vishnu or Brahma. They do not know. If a woman says, oh, everyone is my husband, then she is a prostitute. That's all. Evening Darshan, December 3, 1976, Hyderabad.
Sometimes Prabhupada will speak quite strongly on these points, you see. He wants people to understand very clearly how foolish this kind of statement is. Whatever ticket I purchase, it all goes to Delhi? No. Okay, so going ahead, the glories of devotional service.
Maharaj, sorry to interrupt, can I ask a question, Maharaj?
Okay.
Maharaj, often, a lot of people say that, whatever life is, it is here and there is nothing beyond. And there is, there is no way we can go forward. So can we quote this verse there as well?
Well, yes, you could do, yes. You can explain to people that even within the material world, there are different places, there's the place of the demigods, the higher planets, and then there's Pitri-loka, and then there's planets of the Pitris and the goats also, and they have their place. So
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
It's not all one, right? So people may say, of course some people are very foolish. They think life is only on this planet, and they just can't believe that there's living entities in other places. It's very difficult for them to understand that there are other places, other inhabited places within the universe. Most people think life is only on this planet. But those who read the Vedas, or those who know Vedic scripture, we know about their higher realms and lower realms also. There are living entities everywhere. So, yes, and this verse helps to support that there are planets of the demigods, and there are ghosts as well, and these things. And Krishna also has his abode. He's a person, he has a home. He's not just some energy or some light. He's a person, he has his own home. And you can go there to his place where he lives and you can be with him. And so it's a great opportunity. All right, the glories of devotional service. Text number 26. Please read.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham bhaktya upahritam ashnami priyatatmanah. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. Hare Krishna.
So the significant word in the verse, you can see bhakti. Bhakti is used twice, in the first half and in the second half. So devotion is very much important. It's not that Lord Krishna is eager for the leaf and flower and the fruit and the water, because he has many goddesses of fortune who are all serving him. But what he does want is the devotion. That's the important item. And the acharyas, in commenting on this verse, they talk about the importance of making offerings. When you do offer things to Krishna, that we should offer them with devotion. And they talk particularly about cleanliness and purity. If one is contaminated, for example, then we cannot make offerings to Krishna. We have to be conscious. And we want to offer to Krishna. We should offer with love and devotion. We have to be pure. If we are contaminated, if we're not in good condition, then how we can expect Krishna to accept our offering? You know, if we have COVID, they put everybody in quarantine, right? They keep you away from everything. So if we're contaminated, we keep away. We put ourselves into isolation because we're not pure. We're contaminated, so we're not really qualified to offer to Krishna, right? May come as a shock to people. Here's a statement, Prabhupada's lecture. Someone read.
How can one learn to love God? There are 6 kinds of reciprocation, 6 kinds of exchanges, dadati. We have to serve God in that way. Therefore, if you want to serve Him, start with some offering, patram, pushpam. Anyone can offer a little flour, some fruit, and a little water. So the Lord says, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, yo me bhaktaya prayachati. The important thing is love. Lecture on BG 9.24. to 26, New York 66.
Alright, Prabhupada is referring to the Upadeshamrita, or the nectar of instruction. He uses the word dadati, right? Dadati pratigrinati, guyam makyati prichati, bhongte bojayate chaiva. Right? Six kinds of reciprocation. Do you know that? Have you studied the nectar of instruction?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay. Anyway, there are 6 kinds of reciprocation, or 6 kinds of loving exchanges between one devotee and another. And first of all, we have offering gifts in charity and accepting charitable gifts, offering prasadam and accepting prasadam, and inquiring confidentially and revealing our mind in confidence. So these are the 6 kinds of reciprocation between one devotee and another. So we have to serve Krishna in that way also. We want to serve Him. We also offer patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, right? But Prabhupada points out the important thing is not so much the offering, but it's the devotion, right? So bhakti is an important item, and we have to remember that. Sometimes we make offerings, you know, we just put the plate on the altar and we rush away back into the kitchen, you know, and you ring you maybe ask your husband to make the offering, or ask your child to make the offering, and they ring the bell and they don't say anything. Sometimes you see people, they just ring the bell, they don't say anything. They may bow down, they get up again 2 minutes, 1 minute later or less. They don't chant anything. We're supposed to recite prayers, we're supposed to invite Krishna to eat. Anyway, the important thing is love. And Prabhupada also explains this is the beginning. This is the beginning. He said just you're offering some leaf, flower, fruit. Not that we have to limit ourselves to that. We can offer more. But this is a good start. Okay? Yeah, then text 27. Someone read.
Yat karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurshva mad arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, or whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me.
All right, this is karmarpana, offering the results of our work to Krishna. Karmarpana, right? There is something different from the previous verse. The previous verse was speaking about bhakti. This is just offering the results of our work to Krishna. Read.
Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the bhakti described in this verse is one step below the Kevala Bhakti, described in text 14, 22 and 26. Yet it is superior to Nishkam Karma Yoga, because here everything is offered to Krishna, not only those actions performed in the scriptures.
All right. So who knows text 14? You remember text 14, 9th chapter? Nobody remember? Yes, right. Satatam kirtayantumam. Good. Yes. Always.
I read it.
Okay, good. And then text 22 is? Text 22? Right, Yoga Kshema Bahamyaham. That's the Yoga Kshema Bahamyaham verse. And then text 26 is the Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Right? So those three verses, those three verses are all describing the highest form of devotion, pure devotion. So they're important verses, they're pure devotion. But here, this text 27, it's describing something a little below pure devotion. Because, well, you go ahead and read. Oh, we have to go down, right? Yes, go ahead.
One might ask, but when you mention sacrifice...
Go ahead, Mataji.
One might ask, but when you mention sacrifice, that's derived from Archan, which is an anga of bhakti and aims to please Vishnu. And when you mention austerities, this refers to vows such as Ekadashi fast. This is all Ananya Bhakti, isn't it?
Keep reading.
Krishna replies, only if one first surrenders to the order of Guru and Krishna and then acts. But if one does what he likes and then offers the result to Krishna, that action is tinged with personal motivation and cannot be considered pure bhakti. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan explains that the Kanishta devotee offers the fruit of his prescribed varnashrama duties for the satisfaction of the Lord, and that is called Karma Yoga. The Parinishta devotee also performs his varnashrama duties and offers them to Krishna, but his main focus is in the activities of bhakti, such as Shravan and Kirtana. He is the one described in this verse. The Kevala Bhakti of a Nirapeksha devotee was described in text 14, 22 and 26 of this chapter.
Okay, did you get all that? So, the distinction is made between pure devotional service and karma yoga, or mixed devotion. Because the devotee was arguing, well, look, I'm doing bhakti. He said, because it said, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, whatever austerities you perform, do them for me. So one person may argue, he said that, look, my bhakti, I'm doing my devotion, my worship is to please you, to please the Lord. And I'm doing my austerities, that's also to please you. My austerity, I'm doing my Ekadasi fasting and like that. So isn't that pure devotion? But Krishna says, well, only if you first surrender to the order of Guru and Krishna and then act. You see, first surrender to the Guru and Krishna, that is Bhakti Yoga. But if you surrender after the activity, you give the fruit of your work, then it's not bhakti, that is karma yoga. Why? Because you're attached to that work. And so Krishna said, if you do what you like and then offer the result to Krishna, that action is tinged with personal motivation. It's not pure bhakti. You're attached to working, you wanted to do that work. But you offered the results. Okay, it's nice you offered the results, but it's not pure bhakti. It's niskam karma yoga, right? And then at the bottom here, it's a little different. That first part, that was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then at the bottom here we have Baladeva Vijayabhusan, and he's explaining about the devotee offering the fruits of his duties in Varnashram for the service of Krishna. So that is also called Karma Yoga. The results of your Varnashram, that is not Bhakti Yoga, that's Karma Yoga. A devotee performs his Varnashram duties, offers them to Krishna, but his main focus is in the activities of the devotee's main focus is in the activities of bhakti, such as Shravanam and Kirtan. So he is the one described in this verse. The Kevala Bhakti was described in 14, 22 and 26 of this chapter. All right, so Parinishita devotee performs the duties in Varnashram and offers them to Krishna. But if his main focus is in the activities of bhakti, such as hearing and chanting, then it's very good. And he is the one described in this verse. So it's just a little down from 26. Oh, Karmarpana, text 27 and 28. Someone can read this story?
There is a story that some sannyasi went to a householder because the sannyasi begs from householders. They are not beggars, but they introduce themselves as such so that the householder may receive them and take some advantage of their knowledge. So the sannyasi went to a householder and the housewife said, "Oh, this beggar is going from door to door, give him some ashes." So the sannyasi replied, "All right, give me some ashes, just begin your charity." So similarly, when Krishna asks, "Give me a little flour, a little fruit, a little water," it does not mean that he is begging. He is just inducing you to the practice of offering everything that belongs to him. Lecture Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text 11.
So can you get the point here? That we don't just stop with offering, we shouldn't be satisfied just to offer a leaf of flour, fruit, water. If we can give more, we should give more. This is just Krishna was just encouraging people in the beginning to get them started in devotion. Okay, go ahead, text number 28.
शुभाशुभ फलर एवं मोक्ष से कर्म बंधने संन्यास योग युक्तात्मा विमुक्तो माम उपाश्यसि. In this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me.
All right. So what is auspicious and inauspicious? And sometimes people, we become very concerned. What is auspicious? What is inauspicious? But we want to fix our mind on Krishna. That's the important thing. And fixing the mind on Krishna, that is called the principle of renunciation. So what is actually renunciation? Fixing our mind on Krishna. One whose mind is fixed on Krishna, he is actually renounced. And he will come to me. Then text 29, read.
Samo aham sarva bhuteshu na me dvesho asti na priya ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mayi te teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
So we can see in this verse there are two parts to it. First of all, Krishna says in the beginning, he said, I envy no one. I'm not partial to anyone. I'm equal to everyone. So that's the first part. Of course, Krishna doesn't have anything to envy anybody for, because he's Krishna. He's not lacking in anything. He's not lacking in renunciation. He's not lacking in wealth. He has everything in full. So he's not envious of anyone. And he's not particularly partial to someone. He said, I'm equal to everyone. But then the second half of the verse, he says, he kind of turns it round a bit. He said, whoever renders service to me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So the second half of the verse, Lord Krishna shows his special appreciation for his devotees, those who are giving him confidential service. So they're very dear to Krishna. So it appears like there's a contradiction there. Because in the beginning he says he's equal, but then he said, no, somebody gives devotion to me, then he's very dear to me. So Krishna indicates that not everybody is fully equal. Those who are devotees are very special. They're not equal to everyone. They have a very intimate connection to Krishna. And Prabhupada explains, he said, why not? He said, just like a mother, she may love all children, but she has a special love for her own child. So that is the idea. The one who is the mother, she will have the special love for her own child. In the same way, Krishna has a special love for his devotees. All right, here's from Prabhupada's purport. Someone read?
One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is neutral. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity in whatever form is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes. So Prabhupada very clearly explains here the special relationship which Lord Krishna has with his devotees. Although he loves everyone, but still he has a special feeling for his devotees. And he maintains them, takes care of them. All right, we have to go on to the last section of this chapter here. We're going to hear about some devotees who may be doing something which is really not proper, described here as abominable action. So, durachar, right? They're apicha suduracharo. They're abominable. They've done something disgusting. So, text number 30, someone read.
Apiche suduracharo bhajte mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination.
All right, so we're hearing again about determination. We must be determined, engaged in devotional service. So he's done something, or maybe he has some habit which he's not able to give up, or he's done something which was really bad, but at the same time he's doing devotional service. So Lord Krishna says he should be considered saintly. And why? Because he's situated in his determination. Now, if he was not determined, if he did something disgusting, he would just give up and go away and feel ashamed. But because he's so attached, because he's so determined, he wants to do devotional service, he wants to serve Krishna, so he doesn't go away. And he takes the criticism, he takes the shame of having performed activities which were really abominable. Right? Lord Krishna. So here's a question for you. How could the message of statement of Lord Krishna in chapter 9 verse 30, that his devotee will never perish, be misunderstood? And what is the actual meaning here? So text number 30. The devotee will never perish. Actually, it's not really in this verse. That the devotee will never perish. But you know the verse, right? You all know Kunti apriti janahi name bhakta pranashyati. So it's not in verse 30. What verse is that? Verse number? Kunti apriti.
Maharaj is 31. It's 31, Maharaj.
31. Okay, the next verse,
yes,
right? Yeah, thank you, Maharaj.
Yes,
So, how could that message be misunderstood?
Maharaj, like some may think that a devotee can do anything and still Lord will protect him. Like he can be engaged in a wrong activity. Like we see practice like Sahajiyas also. On the name of devotional service, they sometimes do wrong activities also, which are not approved by the scriptures. So some people might think that that Lord will still protect them.
Yes, right. Can you think of what kind of activities they may have done, and they thought the Lord will protect them?
Like taking intoxication, like taking like tobacco and all those tobacco, basically. Like sometimes they take those kind of things also.
Yes.
Some intoxicants also, like ganja and those things.
Yes, good. Marriages, any comments on this?
So I just want to say that it talks about if someone does it by accident, right? So it's not an intentional offense or a fall down. It is something which is coincidence.
Well,
right?
It's not necessary. That may be true, but may not. It may be that it's habitual. That he does it more than once. He does it again and again. He's not able to give it up.
So habit is also, isn't it like accidental, because we don't know that this is part of our life and we keep doing it again and again, even if we try not to do it. Do you think that this is so? Yeah, but it's not intentional, right? Because you're habitual and it's not intentional. So does Krishna protect if it's not an intentional mistake or the mistake happens? So I could think of, say, any offense against Vaishnavas. Can an accidental offense against Vaishnava, or you say something against someone, do you think that Lord Krishna would still protect the devotee?
Yes, I think so.
Maharaj. Maharaj, I believe that, Maharaj, devotional service is so potent that there is no need to do any prashit in this. What we have to do, what we are already doing. If somehow or by chance, if somebody by mistake or somebody commits any offense or any mistake, so he needs not to do any prashit. The prashit in the devotional service is to be determined and be confirmed and be fixed our mind that that we will not do this mistake, we will not commit this mistake again, and more strictly we have to perform the activities of spiritual life. The reason is devotional service is so potent.
Yes, devotional service is very potent. but somehow he may be, in his heart, he may not like to do the activity again, but somehow he may do it again. Just why, in second chapter we had the question of Arjuna, why do people perform activities even unwilling, as if engaged by force? Or third chapter, right? As if engaged by force. So there's a force, that force, which unwilling, we're unwilling, but still we do it.
Maharaj, as we were reading that devotional if we just follow the instruction of Guru, so devotional service is so potent that it will take away the tendency even from our heart to commit mistakes or sin. It is so potent. We just have to be determined. And yes, there are three modes of material nature who forces us, but still we have to be engaged in the devotional service.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we have to be engaged in devotional service.
Maharaj, also this is an offense to commit sinful activities on the strength of holy name. So if we are doing wrong activities and thinking that our spirituality will counteract, so actually we are committing an offense against holy name and devotional service.
Yes, right. You know, when Krishna says also that my devotee will never perish, then people may often misunderstand it, that they think, oh, I'll never get sick, I'll never get disease, I'll never die. You know, some people, they have that problem, you know, we actually think like that, you know, Krishna should protect me from getting, and then sometimes devotees, their faith is weakened when they hear, oh, a devotee died, and he died, oh, he got a disease, he got cancer and he died, or he was in a car crash and he died. And we thought, how could that happen to a devotee? Doesn't Krishna protect the devotee? Right? So, how do you understand that? Oh, you're all shocked. Yeah, go ahead, Prabhu.
Maharaj, problems will come in the life of devotee. Like Pandavas also had to undergo so many problems. So, because in material world, their problems will be there. But a devotee is always equipoised. Like Parikshit Maharaj was also cursed that he will die within 7 days. But he knew that like I should not, instead of like criticizing or thinking that why Lord is doing like this with me, he thought that this is a special mercy of Lord on me, and I can engage my time in hearing and chanting the glories of Lord. So devotee takes everything as mercy of Lord, like Lord Brahma also told, like, I'm not remembering that verse, that Hridvag Vapurvir Vidya Namaste Jiveti Mukti Padesa Daivag. That devotee, although he has so many problems in his life, still, like the Tatyanukampa Sumsamikshamana, that he just considers everything, like whether tribulations, problems are coming, that also has mercy in his life, whatever is coming in his life.
Yes. Yeah, that's an advanced devotee, but not everybody's up to that, you know, that's high level devotion to think like that. But some newer devotees, I remember there was a newer devotee and he'd recently been initiated, and then like about a month or two later he was diagnosed with cancer. And so it was a great shock to him, because he thought, you know, that how is it possible? I've taken initiation and now I've got cancer. And he said to me, how will I ever be able to preach to my friends, like when they know like this? They'll say, oh, you see, your faith didn't protect you, your religion is no good, didn't protect you. So some people think like that. So I explained to him, I told him, I said, no, you have to preach to them now. You say, and tell them that you know, we're all going to die, that this planet is Mrityuloka, and everyone's dying, but we don't know when we're going to die. But Krishna is so kind, he's informed me that I've got this disease and that my death is imminent, and I have to prepare myself. So that's one act of mercy of Krishna. And I know how to prepare myself for death as well. I'm not bewildered about it, and I know that death is simply the change of the body. I'm giving up one body, I'm going to accept another body. So there's nothing to be lamented. And so I said, it's a good time for you to preach to people and convince them about the power of this philosophy. Yeah, he was a little bewildered, poor fellow. But, you know, I encouraged him that you should preach. I said, don't think that this can't happen to anyone. It happens to everyone. Just because you're a devotee, don't think it's not going to happen to you. Yeah, we all get disease, we all get old age, we all get dead. But we're not bewildered by these things because we have Krishna consciousness. Is it clear, everyone? Yeah?
Yes, Maharaj, but I want to ask one thing, Maharaj. Yes, the answer is that we will not be bewildered, and and to surpass that phase, we get strength from Krishna only. Maharaj, as you were asking the question like if somebody met with an accident, so it also comes in my mind that when we honor Charitamrita, so we say that Akal Mityu Harnam Sar Vyadi Vinashanam. So Vishnu Charanutva Pitve Punarjanam Na Vidyate. Maharaj, how to understand if somebody honors Charitamrita and met with an accident?
Well, yes, we understand that it's the arrangement of Krishna. It's not karma. It's the arrangement of Krishna. Krishna wants us. It's putting us into a situation. We have to see the hand of Krishna in what's going on around us. Krishna is the supreme controller. So we meet with an accident. Krishna must want us to be more careful. He wants, maybe he's giving us more time to chant by giving us an accident. He's making us more aware of the temporary nature of the material world. And he's telling us we have to get ready to leave the body, because we're all going to have to leave the body one day. And we have to be ready. So something goes wrong.
And Maharaj, from the preaching point of view, you were saying, so if you can please tell, from a preaching point of view, if somebody asked that he was a devotee, he was doing this, we can understand because we are a sadhaka, but how to explain to other person?
Somebody's not a devotee? They're not a devotee, okay, then,
yes, Maharaj.
Then whatever happens to them is under the law of karma, it's their karma. And their karma.
No, if somebody asks, if non-devotee asks that he was a devotee, he met with an accident, so how to answer them, Maharaj?
Oh, the non-devotee wants to understand why a devotee met with the accident.
Yes, Maharaj.
Well, we have to tell him about the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, that behind everything there's a controller, a supreme controller. And Krishna is the overseer, he is the permitter of everything which happens. So whatever happens, we have to understand there's a higher reason for it. And the reason for it is, just like I said, we have a temporary material body. So Krishna wants us, he's giving us warning that we have to prepare ourselves to leave this world. We have to get ready. He wants us to become more serious in our Krishna consciousness. Therefore, he's put us into this difficult condition. He's given us an accident or something.
Okay, thank you so much, Maharaj.
We have to see the hand of Krishna in everything. Though certainly things go wrong, you can't blame Krishna. You have to understand there's a reason why it happens. Krishna wants us to get ready, to become more aware of our situation in this world, that this world is not our real home. We have to get out from this world. We're trying to be comfortable in this world. We're thinking, I'm a devotee, I should have my nice home and I'll live here forever. No, you won't. You're not going to live here forever. You're going to have to get out of this world one day. You have to understand the temporary nature of this world. We have so many things. Oh, I have my family, I have my home, and no, they cannot save you. We have to understand the nature of this world. Look at Maharaj Parikshit. He was the king of the world. He was emperor. But he got cursed. He had to, immediately took advantage to go and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? If you know you have 7 days to live, are you going to give up everything and just sit and hear Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yes, Maharaj.
I hope so.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. I hope you're not just saying that, but often, oh, why me? Can we do something to save me? We run to make so many arrangements to try to save ourselves. And we want to prolong the body in the material world. Okay, we'll go ahead. Someone read this one.
The words sadhu eva he saintly are very emphatic. They are a warning to non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This word only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Srila Prabhupada's purport, Bhagavad Gita 9.30. Hare Krishna.
All right, so this verse refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. An accident due to strong, maybe maybe you ate something which you shouldn't eat, and you maybe eat some meat or something, or maybe somebody offers you a cigarette, or maybe even you took a drink or something, but maybe you used to do these things before becoming devotees. And again, we haven't really given them up. We haven't given up these things. Difficult to sometimes, and sometimes the bad habit just comes back. So unknowingly you do these things. So that's a fall down. A fall down. Fall down. You break the vows. You give up your vows. Maybe not deliberately, but somehow you accidentally you didn't keep your vows which you promised. So the prayaschit is, of course, devotional service. There's no other prayaschit in devotional service. It's simply you have to take up the devotion again. So we have to continue with our devotional service. But if we fall down, then Prabhupada explained, he said, one time you can be forgiven. He said, second time, you may still be forgiven. But if it happens again and again and again, then you should understand it means you're not a very strong devotee. Okay? You're not very strong in your Krishna consciousness. If it's happening regularly. Right? Someone read?
Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusionary energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusionary energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee. It's from Purport, chapter 9, verse 30th.
Verse 30, yeah. All right, so Prabhupada he's got some standards on these things. Not that we can go on every week and commit these have some fall down. Sometimes once or twice you can be forgiven, but not regularly. So we have to understand what is meant here in this verse. Don't take advantage to do sinful activities and think that we're still devotee. All right, then text 31. Someone read.
Shipram bhakti dharmatma shashvat chanti nigacchati konte prati janihi name bhakta pranayashayati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
All right, so who's being talked about? Who quickly becomes righteous?
The devotee who had a fall down, accidental fall down.
Right, yeah. Right. Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about this. Can you read?
How can you accept the worship of such a sinful person? How can you eat the food and drink offered by a heart contaminated with lust and anger? Very quickly he becomes righteous. The present is used and not the future to express the fact that having committed sin, by remembering the Lord, he becomes repentant and thus very quickly becomes righteous. Oh, how unfortunate I am. There is no one as low as I, bringing bad name to the devotees. Repeatedly, Shashwat. He feels completely ni for Nitaram, disgust Santim for those actions. Or the use of the present tense can indicate that in the future he'll develop righteousness fully. But even right now it exists in a subtle form. After taking medicine, though the destructive effects of fever or poison remains for some time, it is not considered seriously. Thus, with the entrance of bhakti in his mind, the sinful actions are not taken seriously.
Okay, so interesting example is given here at the end. Just like somebody may have a fever, and so you take some medicine, and the medicine may have some poison may be there in the medicine. Or the effect of the fever is the poison. The effect of the fever and the poisons which are there in the body will remain for some time. But because you're starting to take the medicine, it's not considered seriously. In the same way, the sinful actions are not taken seriously with the entrance of bhakti, because the person's engaging in devotional activities. So he's doing bhakti. So his actions, sinful actions, are not taken seriously. Yeah? And it continues, the conversation continues.
And the traces of sin such as lust and anger should be considered insignificant, like the biting of a toothless snake. Thus he attains nigacchati, complete cessation of lust and anger, santim, permanently sasvat. In nigacchati, ni stands for nitaram, completely. This means that even during the stage of having tendency to commit sin, he has a pure heart. If he eventually becomes righteous, there would be no argument. However, if a devotee is sinful right up till his death, what is his position? The Lord, affectionate to his devotees, then speaks loudly with a little anger. O son of Kunti, My devotee is not destroyed. At the time of death, he does not fall. But arguers with harsh tongues will not respect this. Krishna then encourages the worried, lamenting Arjuna, O Kaunteya, going to the squabbling assembly with a tumultuous sound of drums, throwing your hands in the air, you should fearless declare this. Declare what? Declare that my devotee, the devotee of the Supreme Lord, though committing sin, does not perish, but rather reaches success. Arguments defeated, pride deflated, they should undoubtedly respect you as a guru. This is Sridhara Swami's explanation. But why does the Lord order Arjuna to declare this when he could do it himself? As he will say later, Mam evayas yasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. I declare to you that you will truly come to me. You're very dear to me. BG 18.65. In the same way, why does he not now say, I declare, Kaunteya, that my devotee does not perish? The reason is explained here. The Lord considered as follows, being affectionate to my devotee and not tolerating even a slight degradation of my devotee, I'll under all circumstances uphold the declaration made by my devotee. Whereas I can break my own promise and accept criticism of myself, just as in breaking my own promise in fighting with Bhishma, I fulfilled Bhishma's promise. Thus, hearing a declaration from my mouth, the materialistic disputers will laugh, but they will accept Arjuna's declaration as if written on stone. Therefore, I will have Arjuna make the declaration. And thus one should not accept the statements of the falsely intelligent persons who, after hearing about Ananya Bhakti, even of the greatest sinner, think that this declaration made by the pure devotee cannot apply in cases where attachment to wife and children, sinful acts, lamentation, illusion, lust, anger, and other despicable qualities manifest. So here Krishna says, Kaunteya prati janihi. You promised, so I shall protect your promise. Name bhakta pranayasati. Anyone who has taken to Krishna consciousness will never be destroyed. Name bhakta pranasyati. Of course, a living entity is never destroyed so far as his constitution is concerned. Na hanyate hanyamane. The destruction of this body is not destruction. The real destruction is that if we lose our spiritual consciousness, we can also lose our identity. In our material conception of life, we are practically destroyed because as spiritual beings, we have a blissful eternal life. We have full knowledge, but here we live in wretched conditions, feeling that life is not eternal, not blissful and not in full knowledge. So are we already destroyed? We are thinking we are advancing in civilization, but unless we revive our original life of eternity and full knowledge and bliss, we should know that we are not advancing. We are being defeated by the illusory energy. This is destruction. Destruction of real life is materialism. So here Krishna says, Kaunteya prati janahi. Please declare in the world that anyone who has taken to this Krishna consciousness will never be destroyed. He'll never go back again to the material life of sense gratification and to this material existence full of miseries. Lecture on BG 9.27 to 32, New York, 1966. For some reason, I'm reading the New York lectures. I think this is the third or fourth one. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhupada encouraging devotees. Anybody who's come to Krishna consciousness will never be destroyed. He can never go back again to that material life of sense gratification. So this is Krishna's words here. We may say, well, look, come on, we've seen people come to Krishna consciousness and they go out of Krishna consciousness. Well, sometimes they may go out. It can mean two things. One is maybe they were never really in Krishna consciousness. They were physically present, but they were not actually wholly surrendered. They were not really committed to Krishna consciousness. They'd simply come to Krishna consciousness and they were taking part. So physical presence, but not really committed to the practice. And other people who may go out, they come to Krishna consciousness and they were committed and they were taking part, but somehow they give up. Then they go out for some time. They'll come back after some time. They will come back. Sometimes it happens that they just have to go out and they just have to be in the material world for some more time, and eventually they'll come, after some time they again come back and take up Krishna consciousness. So then text 32 describes about, even though they be of lower birth, O son of Prita, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth meaning, in the Vedic culture, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Sudras, workers, are all considered of lower birth. They can attain the supreme destination. So we can see Krishna consciousness is for everyone. It's mentioned Papayona. The Papayonis, the sinful people, people of lower birth, they can all achieve the supreme destination, the Param Gatim. And the people are mentioned, Striyo Vaishyas Tata Sudras. They can all go to the Param Gatim, the supreme abode. Even though they be sinful people, Papayonai. Because if we're born in these lower castes, we're born in a lower body, it's due to our past sins. It's not by chance. It's due to our past sins that we're put into these lower positions in the social system. But it's not a barrier to Krishna consciousness. We can still become Krishna conscious. We have to take to the process. So women are particularly mentioned here, as well as Vaishya Sudra. And people may say, oh, this is not fair, prejudiced, why women like... But Krishna says also, it's also a Vedic statement that Kalo Sudra Sambhavaha, that in the Kali Yuga, everybody is a Sudra or lower. And so everyone is of lower birth in the Kali Yuga, not only women. Right. And there are many women who are great devotees. Okay, as explained here, would someone be able to read this?
In India, according to the caste system or a Varnashrama dharma, the Brahman and the Kshatriya are considered to be the highest in the society. The Vaishyas are little less than them, and the Shudras are not taken into account. Similarly, women are classified as Shudra. The thread ceremony is given to the Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya, but there is no thread ceremony for women. Although a woman may be born into a Brahman family, she does not have that benefit because Kshatriya women are seen as less intelligent. They should be given protection, but they cannot be elevated. But here in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna surpasses all these formalities. He is giving opportunities to everyone regardless of birth. In the social structure, you may consider that a woman is less intelligent or a Shudra is less purified. But in spiritual consciousness, there is no such bar. Krishna accepts everyone. It doesn't matter whether you are a woman, a Shudra or a Vaishya. If you simply take to Krishna consciousness, the Lord is there. He will give you all protection and gradually He will help you. One who is in Krishna consciousness is already on the liberated platform. Simply, Shipparam. it will take some time, Shipram, but very soon he will be all right. So this is proposal of Lord Krishna, and this is the facility of Krishna consciousness. Lecture on Bhagavad Gita, 9.29 to 32, New York, 1966.
Thank you very much, Maharaji. Very kind. Very important. Remember these points Prabhupada has made there, helping us to understand this situation. Yes? Can we have someone else read this next slide?
Even one born into a low-grade family can be elevated without exception. That is Shastra. But there are rascals who do not allow this. They have their own ideas. Krishna never said that only the Brahmanas or Indians or Hindus can take shelter of me. Mam hi partha vepaschitya, ye api suah. Whatever he may be, there is no restriction. Just like anyone can take a bath in Ganges, it is not that only a particular person or a particular community can take a bath. Anyone can, and he becomes purified. There is an example. Na hi harate jyotsna chandras chandala veshmani. When there is moonlight, there is no discrimination that a Bhangi's house should receive the moonshine, whilst at a Chandala's house there should be none. The moon shines upon the place of the king or on the house of a Chandala. Na hi harate jyotsna chandras chandala veshmani. Krishna's mercy is for everyone, and it is not restricted to a certain community or class of people. Anyone can take advantage of Krishna consciousness. Conversation, Washington.
Jai. Anyone. Krishna consciousness is for everyone, right? All right, now we've come to the final verse of the chapter, and this is considered the most confidential knowledge. All right, the chapter 9 was entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, and this verse is actually considered the essence of this most confidential knowledge. Someone read?
Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyajina mam namaskuro mam evashyasya yuktavam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me surely will come to me. Hare Krishna.
All right, so 4 activities are being described in this verse. And first of all, engage the mind in thinking of Krishna. So we heard that also at the beginning of the 7th chapter, the very first verse in the 7th chapter, that now here, O Arjuna, how by practicing yoga and full knowledge of me, you can know me in full free from doubt. All right? Maya Sakta Manaparta, that was the first verse of the 7th chapter, that we had to fix our mind on Krishna. And here also, at the middle of the exact middle of the Bhagavad Gita, the end of the 9th chapter, is the heart of the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna is saying, fix your mind on me, become my devotee, madbhakta. And then also, offer obeisances, namaskuru, and then worship me, mam evaishyasi yupaivam. Right? Like that. Become my devotee. Think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances and worship. And the result is, surely you will come to me, because you're fully absorbed. Sarva guya tamam. Sarva guya tamam. So remember, we had confidential knowledge, and we had more confidential knowledge, and now we have the most confidential knowledge. Right? You'll remember confidential knowledge was about the difference between the body and the soul. And then more confidential knowledge was hearing about Krishna's energies and about different ways in which people worship Krishna. And then the most confidential part of knowledge described here. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna, because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's. Bhagavad Gita 1865 purport, the most confidential part of knowledge, to become pure devotee. All right, so a review of chapter 9 here. We began hearing about Krishna, qualifications and disqualifications, right? Remember, what were the qualifications and disqualifications? Mainly?
There was no qualification required.
Yeah, there are qualifications mentioned here. We're hearing about Krishna, there are qualifications required. We should not be envious, and we should have faith.
Yeah.
Right? So those kinds of things are required. That is, we don't say you have to be an IIT graduate, or you have to have a diploma, or you have to have anything. No, but you do have to hear about Krishna with the right attitude if you want to get the results. And then we spoke about Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world, right? How he's above everything. At the same time, he's doing everything. It's all happening under his direction, but he's aloof from it all. And we gave the example. We heard the example tonight about the smelling power of the flower. It's separated from the flower. We can smell the flowers without touching them. Then we heard about non-worshippers. Non-worshippers, abhajananti mam mudha, the foolish mock at Krishna, who appears amongst them like an ordinary person. And the result of that, whatever they try to do, mogasya moga karmano, moga jnana vichetata, right? Whatever they try to do, their attempts to cultivate knowledge, or their fruitive activities, or their endeavors to enjoy sense gratification, they will never be successful. They will never be. For people who have committed that mistake of denying the personality of Krishna, or if we simply take him to be an ordinary person, it's an offense. So that was 11 and 12, and then 13 and 14 was describing Mahatmas, who are always chanting the glories and endeavoring with determination and worshipping Krishna. And then 15 was a summary and describes the different people, how some people worship the universal form, and some people are pantheists or demigod worshippers, and other people are impersonalists, monists. So you've got the monists, you've got the people worshipping the impersonal form, and you've got also the demigod worshippers. And then, so that was there, 16 to 25. We've simply put Krishna as the supreme object of worship. Others are, the other processes are worshipping Krishna, but it's all indirect worship, right? The demigod worshippers are indirect, the universal form is also a little bit indirect, and the pantheists are indirect. And then finally we heard about the glories of directly worshipping Krishna. We heard, for example, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham, how Krishna carries what we lack and he preserves what we have. And we heard also that we can offer a leaf, flower, fruit and water with love and devotion, and Krishna will accept it. Okay, and then at the end of, we heard also how even someone's a sinful person, suduracharo bhajate mam ananyava, that someone he's committed abominable activity, done something really bad, but he cannot give up devotional service. So Krishna accepts him. And Krishna promises he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. And so that Kuntiya Priti Janahi, that the devotee will quickly become restored. He made a mistake, he fell down, but he'll quickly re-establish himself. So we don't deride people for that kind of fall down. And sometimes it happens, these things. Of course, in a big movement like ISKCON, it happens regularly, somewhere in the world. But we don't deride people. And then Krishna also said, doesn't matter, we're of lower birth, we can also attain the supreme destination. And then Krishna spoke the most confidential knowledge, 4 things. Okay, end quote, someone read?
Everyone should attach.
You read, Mataji, please.
Everyone should attach himself to the bosom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that he can be eternally happy. The devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all classes of men can be solved. Everyone should therefore take to Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect.
Okay, everybody agree? Take to Krishna.
Haribol.
All right. Any questions, anybody?
Maharaj, I had one question related to this Bhakti Sastri course. Like in every module, we have to do some OBA questions, like open book assessment questions.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yes. So in every module, we are doing 2 questions. So if you can let us know what are those 2 questions for this unit? Like
are you doing 2 questions or 1 question?
Maharaj, 2 questions.
I thought they changed it to only 1. Are you sure?
Yes, Maharaj. Like in last 2 modules also, we have done 2 questions.
Maharaj, if you want, you can reduce it to 1.
I was about to say the same, Maharaj. We are happy to do 1 as well.
Okay, number 3. In my book, it's about demigods. I'll read it to you. Explain in your own words the proper understanding of demigod worship with reference to appropriate verses, purports, and analogies from Bhagavad Gita. And then different verses are listed: 3, 10 to 16, 7, 20 to 23, and 9, 20 to 25. Right? That's question number 3. Explain in your own words the proper understanding of demigod worship. And you can do number 1 as well if you want 2 questions. Then do number 1. Explain in your own words the connection between chapters 6 and 7 with reference to Krishna's statements, Maya Saktamana and Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschinmam Veti Tadvataha. So explain in your own words the connection between chapter 6 and 7 with reference to those 2 phrases. One from 7.1 and one from 7.3. Okay?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you.
So question 1 and question 3, right? Just to confirm,
Yes.
right?
Right. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. So, I'll
Hare
see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Take
you.
care. Hare Krishna. Srila
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.